So as you can clearly tell, the wind and the sun, the Aesop's fable, the wind and the sun, is infinitely better than the Book of Job. The Book of Job? Why the hell would anybody? There is nothing to learn from the Book of Job except for it doesn't matter what the hell happens to you. You just have to keep on enduring. You just got to keep on keeping on, right? Even if you endured everything, I know, you've endured it all. You know, Jews in the Holocaust, black folks during slavery, but just keep on enduring. Just endure some more. So I think it talks about the infinite Slavic nature of humankind. No matter what, you're going to love your oppressor, the slave master, the oppressor, no matter what, you got to have this blind-ass loyalty, this obedience, and to a piece of crap that wagered. I mean, the sun and the wind is a much better story. It's got a lesson. The sun is stronger than the wind because the sun can get the man to take his coat off, whereas the wind, in a way, inadvertently forces the man to put his coat on. Tries to forcefully blow the coat off, but couldn't do it. The sun just, warmed the place up, and the man didn't need it. So the lesson in this book said that persuasion is better than force. It absolutely is. You persuaded him, he just took the damn coat off. You tried to force him, and it was just fighting and nonstop, and it makes me think of those rapists who just like a fighter. They like a fighter. Fucking piece of shit, you fucking nasty, creepy, perverted, criminal motherfucker. So the sun and the wind is a much better story. The sun and the wind is a much better story because persuasion is better than force. I don't believe in any kind of intimidation, no violence, emotional games. You persuade me or you get the fuck up on out of here. Get on down the road. Don't manipulate people, no coercion. So, here's a question, here's the offer, no, okay. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Alright, I'll give you 30 seconds. Now, go ahead. No, make your pitch. You want me to do A, B, and C, well, then you tell me why it's in my best interest to do so. So, I think that the Book of Job is just basically, listen here, young Hebrew boy or girl, listen here, young Christian, listen here. You're going to obey my version of religion no matter what. You're going to obey. And then what does God do with Job? God is sitting there making a wager. He's making a bet with Satan. So God's got, he's on speaking terms with Satan. And he's going to sit there and play with Job's life like it ain't shit. It's like trading places. It's like a dollar bet, just like Eddie Murphy. There's rich guys who, switched a poor black person with a rich white person to see if they traded places, if they would act any differently. So I think that the Book of Job is a warning to mankind that if you start out a slave, you may always be a slave. So the whole idea of Moses was to get the Jews out of Egypt because they were slaves in Egypt. But the Jews may always be enslaved to the Egyptians forever and ever. So I got a whole thing of notes here. But I guess people like just, real quick, say something, just broadcasting. Alright, lights, camera, action, let's see what you got. Well, is there any saving grace to Job? There is a little bit of saving grace, and I'll get to the saving grace at the end. But they mentioned Orion's belt. That's pretty cool. 3,000 years ago, they were looking up at the stars, and they saw Orion's belt. I could see Orion's belt, too. And I like Bill Dad's Chapter 18 speech. I think it's fantastic. There's poetry. This is one of the poetic books. Talks about how, the unjust, just shut the fuck up. If you're an unjust, an anti-justice motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. And he also talks about how God makes fools of judges, and then also about how the descendants will be like the blades of grass. So Bildad's chapter 18 speech is really the only saving grace. It was boring, it was terrible, I'm waiting to get to the end, what's going to happen, because Job keeps lamenting, my God, God fucking took everything. God just kind of, is just beating the fuck up out of me. He's just fucking my whole life up. And he's not totally wrong. Satan's doing it, but with God's permission, right? God's like, I approve. Yes, go ahead. And I guess he won $1, he won $2. And then he says, God, what's up? And the only thing that God has to say after, Job actually gets suicidal. It doesn't say that, but Job says that he cursed the day that he was born. So Job was getting suicidal, and then that's when, God appears in a storm, which, okay, a storm appears, and then there's God. I guess that's like Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan. But that tells you that if you lament, right, Job laments and God appears. So a closed mouth doesn't get fed. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Job speaks up. God appears. So that's nice. I mean, if God appeared to me, that would make me into a believer. That's all, just the evidence. Yeah, that's what you saw, God. You saw God. It was a man with a big white beard, just like all the artwork. But God doesn't say shit. Job finally gets God to appear and says, God, what the fuck, right? And God's like, did you just say, what the fuck to me? First of all, you need to watch your mouth. Your tone, it's all wrong. Your tone, it's all wrong. How dare you? How dare you talk to me? I'm God. I am God. My ways are, I'm great. I'm magnificent. You don't understand what I'm doing? It's mysterious. Shut the fuck up. I'm God. It doesn't fucking matter what the hell you think. I'm God. And then Job is like, oh shit. Sorry, God. He just bask before his glory and holiness and his reverence. I think it's super fucked up that God allowed Satan to kill all of Job's kids. And even all them damn camels. 7,000 camels, 3,000 sheep, all them goats. What did they do? That's so genocidal. Just kill all the animals because of a fucking bet between Satan and God? So that's some stupid genocidal shit, right? The whole idea of Job is that loyalty is good. You love God no matter what, and you'll be okay. And then at the end, it's supposed to be that you love God even if, God's letting bad things happen. You love Him no matter what, not even for the rewards. But then Job gets a reward. Job gets double of everything, right? He gets double the camels, double the horses, double the elephants. I forget the animals, but he only gets 10 kids, so they only replace the same amount of kids. So he didn't get double the kids. And then they replaced them. They're brand new kids. What happened to the first 10 kids? Were they baptized? Are they all burning in hell? So God let Satan kill all those kids who may not have been baptized, which means, Christianity says you're burning in hell, right, if you don't get baptized. Job was getting suicidal. I think that's, that goes against Christianity. You're burning in hell. Job was a rich man. Job began as a rich man. I'm actually starting to wonder if maybe the Chaldeans and the Sabaeans were on the right side. Were the Chaldeans and the Sabaeans on the right side? We're supposed to feel for Job, right? Job is the main protagonist. But maybe Job is a piece of shit. He's got all those slaves. He's one of the richest motherfuckers around. Why do the Chaldeans and the Sabaeans hate him? They just want to steal his stuff, just take his stuff, never did nothing to nobody. Okay. I'm prone to believe that, but I could also see the Chaldeans and the Sabaeans. This is the rebellion. This is the socialist proletariat revolution. Right now, this is Nat Turner's rebellion. There's the goddamn white supremacist hierarchical, totalitarian, hierarchical system has got to come down. This is the revolution. This is the freedom fight. This is Tagayita's revenge. The Chaldeans and the Sabaeans. The Chaldeans and the Sabaeans are going to topple Jeff Bezos. The Chaldeans and the Sabaeans are going to topple Warren Buffett and all the wealthy and the rich. You know, they act like they're all, you know, they're polite and decent and nice, but they let all the poverty and the misery and all the injustice, they don't give a shit. Job's kind of a pretentious asshole, right? Job is like so overly righteous about his, you know, piety. Okay, Job, we get it. Fucking shit, you love a goddamn. Okay, you didn't even know he existed. You loved him. Okay, too much. It's too much. And then even God comes to him and says, "Shut the fuck up. I'm God." No, God, you shut the fuck up. You made a bet with the fucking devil to kill my 10 kids. I want my 10 kids restored. You're not going to give me another 10 kids. Like, go ahead and do that, but I want the first original. And then if the ones that want, make sure you get those baptized, they better be in heaven, motherfucker. And I guess the animals, I guess that, you know, we can maybe, their lives too. That's, you know, that's just unnecessary. That's animal cruelty. That's felony animal cruelty. Times 1,000 on a genocidal level. They mention Beelzebub and Leviathan in the book of Job. The Leviathan, which is a metaphor for a big, imposing government. Leviathan, so essentially God is sitting there saying, you know, I'm God. I created the goats, and I created the grass, and the clouds, and this, and that. And then he gets to the Leviathan. I created the Leviathan, which is this big, four-headed, ugly monster with tentacles and the wings of gold, and it's a terrible, ugly monster that nobody can defeat, but God claims that he created it. So the lesson is, obey, Job. Be afraid, Job. Who cares if it doesn't make sense to you, Job? But the lesson of the damn story, God is on some fucking bullshit, making, you know, $1 bets with Satan, fucking Job's life over it, just basically treating Job's life like it's the most frivolous thing in the world. So it's a terrible story. It's not, you know, it's definitely not the wind and the sun. It's got terrible conclusions. It's just like Jesus Christ and the Passion of the Christ. For 2 hours, he's just getting his ass kicked. So Job just gets his ass kicked, right? I mean, my God, he must have had learned a joke or something, but no, just basically the first 2 chapters says what happens, and then the rest of the 40 chapters is Job complaining, and then the other, you know, his 3 friends, and what the fuck is up with those 3 friends? So he's got a shitty wife, right? His wife is just like, curse God right before you die, and then die, you piece of shit. Just die already, would you? But before you die, curse God so you have no insurance policy. You just... So Job's wife is terrible. He's got 3 shitty friends. These shitty friends are sitting there saying, you know, blah, blah, dee, da, blee, da, ba, doo. And he's sitting there saying, like, what the hell, motherfuckers? The 3 friends were not comforting. He said that they were a bunch of blabbermouths. He said something about that they were just a bunch of, you know, a bunch of fucking asshole blabbermouths. But the 3 friends were not helpful. And then that other, you know, Elihu, where the hell is Elihu just kind of jumps in the middle and is like, yeah, you're right. Job is right. The 3 friends are assholes. And somehow Elihu becomes the referee in the middle of the book. But I think it's an absolute fucking terrible goddamn lesson. It's, if you're Bernie Sanders, if you're a good man for your entire life, and then all of a sudden, you know, shit just starts piling on top of you, if you're a Willis Russell, if you're a Martin Luther King, if you're a good-ass person your entire goddamn life, you love God, you did everything God wanted, you were consistent with God's will. Basically, the lesson of Job is, do not let God love you. If God loves you, Do not be devoted and loyal to God, because if He loves you, then He'll do a dollar bet with Satan, and he'll fuck your life up. And then when you start to question it, God will just get shitty and He won't explain Himself. He'll just get shittier. And just says, who cares if it don't make sense to you? Fuck you. You're nothing, Job. You're nothing. Anyways, thanks for the love and devotion and loyalty. I hope you keep it up. I sure do appreciate it. And then Job says he's sorry to God, when God is the one that should be apologizing to Job. So, terrible story. I feel like I'm probably missing something. I'll come back to it. But a terrible story, terrible lessons. You can learn more from the sun and the wind. It's better to persuade somebody than it is to force somebody. And frankly, that's just how life is, right? Somebody don't want to do what you offered. Well, get the fuck up over it, They don't have to do what the hell you say. It's called freedom. You can offer it, but when they say no, I think 3 strong no's, shut the fuck up about it. Just no. 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 So, yeah, that's some of my thoughts about the book of Job. The sun and the wind is much better. It's a better lesson. The book of Job, there is a saving grace. I guess I'll get to the saving grace coming up. Chapter 18, the book of Job. Peace.